Testing, 1, 2. Hello, this is a brief general overview of Russian history. Um, right here, you can see a map of what modern day Russia is. This obviously was not always the case. Russia used to be, or the territories as they were, whatever form they took, were all about this area here, on the western side, closer to Europe. As you can kind of see here, here's Moscow. Up here's Petersburg. Here's the Caucasus Mountains. This is the southern limit of Russia, despite um, efforts and intentions of some rulers. Here are the plains, the Pennine Plains, which it's beautiful, but it's also very difficult to defend, which is significant for when, but if you talk about the Mongolian invasion, which they succeed in until um, Russia becomes liberated, but I'll talk about that again later. Here is the eastern side over here. There was territorial disputes with China and Japan, and off the map here you can see a little bit of islands that Russia still has attached to north of Japan, but this is the extent of what Russia is today. So, the Kievan Rus were the first sort of formation of what eventually led to the Russian state today. It was developed by Prince Oleg of Novgorod, and it was centered around Kievan Rus. But many claim it reached its peak when Prince Vladimir began his rule. He um, set a very strong basis for religion, law, education, trade. Um, with religion, he adopted Orthodox Christianity from Byzantium, as well as the trade right here. Later on, we'll talk about how the Byzantine Empire's relations with what is Russia is significant. But we have to keep in mind that trade is, I cannot understate how important trade is for an empire's success. It's kind of a mark for um, it shows that not only are you self-sufficient, but you have the resources and products to trade with other states. And of course, trade doesn't happen unless there's, like benefits to both sides. So this increases uh, the Kievan Rus' economy, their prosperity. And so this lasts for a while, and like all great things, it has to come to an end with the Mongol invasion from the 1230s to 1240s, and in 1240, it sacks Kiev. But the Mongols are not particularly interested in expanding their territory, but instead they naturally it becomes fragmented. The states become their own states. but they all answer to the Golden Horde, and they all have to pay tribute. And because they're unified or separate, they do not have the manpower or the force to contest the Golden Horde. Despite this, Moscow grew in its prominence because of its strategic location. And they were at this time in favor with the Golden Horde. The Orthodox Church is still going strong. The Mongols allowed for the religion to continue on. Um, this is kind of the like the Mongols had no intention of converting. They just left Russia and the territories to do what they will, so to speak. But they did take their tribute from them. Now, a Prince Dmitry Donskoy, Donskoy, if I'm saying that correctly, um, went on a streak of unifying and conglomerating whatever forces he could, and he fought his way until the Battle of Kulikovo, where he established a strict line between the Mongol forces. And so this was the stepping off point for which to Russia become, or the Russian states become unified, and to finally contest this hammer that the Golden Horde had over them. Let's see here. This led into what is known as Muscovite Russia. Like I said, the Russians were at this point now free from Mongol control, and they were all under Ivan III. They were also known as the Grand Prince of all Rus. During his reign, he managed to triple the territory of Russia. He began to really work on the infrastructure, fortifying this centralized power. And he also married a Byzantine princess. This is what I was talking about earlier. He married the princess, and this led him to claim that the Moscow expansion was now a third Rome because of that relation with the Byzantine. Because the Byzantine is um, they claim to be the Rome, despite the conflict going on with them in East Mediterranean. But this is not about that. Now, his successor, Ivan IV, despite his actions, also expanded Russian territory and increased the strength of uh, Russia. His the paradigm began to look like a rigid social hierarchy. He, despite fortifying the, or in addition to fortifying the centralization of power, he also uh, developed and fortified a social system, which led to the rise of serfdom. And of course, the Orthodox Church is still going strong, and because of the church, he uses that as a claim to be like the rightful ruler um, with his power given to him from God. Moving on. Oh, briefly, I'll talk about the time of troubles. While this is going on, oh no, sorry, after Ivan the Fourth dies, this area, this country, undergoes what is now called a time of troubles. And what happens is because of this, I don't want to say power vacuum, but because of the significant event, because all of the power is, held at the top, there was a dynastic crisis. And external forces saw this as a prime opportunity to invade. And due to this, and due to the stutter in infrastructure, there was famine all across the land. Eventually, a the Romanov dynasty um, came into play after, let's see, was it after the time of troubles? Michael Romanov was elected the Tsar in 1613, I believe. And uh, as we look at empires throughout history, we can see that there's uh, a certain degree of consistency, despite how, um, if there's like um, economic decline or catastrophes of one sort or the other, or social catastrophes that occur. But the Romanov dynasty lasted for at least a few successors, starting with Mikhail Romanov. And he was the one credited, and rightly so to a certain degree, with stabilizing the state after that whole conundrum and the times of troubles that occurred after Ivan IV. And once again, Russia has an expansion of territory,